una cosa que me sorprendió mucho sobre el país cuando...
I am very happy that I do not sound like that anymore. Espérate, no te estoy diciendo que yo soy perfecto. De ninguna manera. Pero por lo menos yo he mejorado mi pronunciación en español bastante y por esta razón estoy tan orgulloso de mí mismo. But how exactly did I improve my Spanish pronunciation? Con la música, with music. So listening to music in Spanish really has helped to improve my Spanish pronunciation over the past few years. And one big reason for that is input. And I really needed a lot of input to be able to get more accustomed to how Spanish sounds, especially considering that right after I graduated college and I took Spanish classes and things like that, I didn't really know what Spanish speakers sounded like because I really wasn't consuming a lot of Spanish content at this time. So listening to music in Spanish really gave me that initial exposure to how the Spanish language sounds. Without me knowing it at the time, I was also learning how to speak Spanish without sounding like a robot. And as you know, with singers and rappers, everything is all about el ritmo. It's about rhythm. It's all about el estilo. It's all about style and el control de tu voz, the control of your voice. So as I was following along, I would just repeat the same thing that I was hearing. Singing along to different songs while also reading the lyrics was basically my trabalenguas or tongue twisters. And that is because I figured out which word combinations or what letter combinations were really difficult for me to say. Let me give you an example. So right now, right in front of me, I have the lyrics of the song Será que sí by Maelo Ruiz. Será que estoy pagando una cadena cuando más te necesito aquí? And the second line is Será que esta tristeza que hoy me enreda en tu presencia volvería a reír. But when you're actually listening to the song, the pacing is a lot faster and it sounds more like ¿Será que estoy pagando una cadena cuando más necesito aquí? ¿Será que esta tristeza que hoy me enreda en tu presencia volvería a reír? So just right there, you can see that I was already struggling to say these two different lines right here. And that's because there was words like esta tristeza. So for whatever reason, it was really difficult for me to say esta and then tristeza. But I can say those words separately decently, but that combination of saying those words together was very difficult for me. And another one was volvería a reír. One big reason why this particular phrase was very hard for me to say was because I have never said this phrase before. And just trying to say volvería. So just trying to say the first word was very difficult for me. And then trying to put that all together, but also say it very fast was incredibly challenging. And another part that was very challenging for me to say was que hoy me enreda en tu presencia. And the reason for that was all those A's or E's in English. So we had me and then we have enreda. So I didn't know how to combine those two separate words because it ends with A and then the next word starts with A as well. So I was like, me enreda. So I was going through that over and over again trying to pronounce this word correctly. Another way that I have improved my Spanish pronunciation is just by writing down on a piece of paper all the different words that I struggle pronouncing. And then I would just tape that onto my wall or I would put that on my fridge. I would practice pronouncing those words over and over again throughout the day and throughout the week until I said it correctly. And some of these words are, well, actually, this first word here is one that I had a lot of trouble with pronouncing last week, and that is enriquecer. So right now I gotta say that really slowly. The next one is el papel higiénico, and I actually heard this for the first time when I was in the Dominican Republic. And also los recursos, peso and pesa, valor, pronunciación, preferir, destacamento, licencia, licenciado, zoológico y psicólogo. The verb preferir and all of its conjugations have also given me so much trouble over the past few years, and even today, there's still many conjugations that I still struggle with pronouncing. So that is also what I would do as well. Not just write down the infinitive version of the verb, but I would write down many different conjugations or many different tenses of the verb that I am trying to practice. So some of these I'm going to show you how difficult it is for me right now. So we have preferir, prefería, we have preferiré, preferiría, yo he preferido, preferieron. Slowing down, not talking so fast has helped me out a lot to improve my Spanish pronunciation. And the big reason for this is I like to talk incredibly fast, not just in English, but especially in Spanish. But when it comes to actually pronouncing words correctly, it does not help me if I'm just trying to say the word as fast as possible, because it doesn't sound good at all. I just butcher the word. So I really had to work hard in slowing down and making sure that I'm pronouncing every single letter correctly and just taking my time when I'm saying words. Because for example, if I try to say one of these preferir verbs really fast, it's not going to sound good. It's going to be very difficult for me to say. So, for example, preferiramos, preferido, preferiste, preferirio, preferieron, preferiremos. So, as you can see right there, how difficult it is for me to say these specific verbs very fast. So that's why I have to slow down, and then it's going to make it a lot easier for me to actually say these words. So instead of saying preferirio, I'm going to slow down and say preferio, preferio. And then over time, I more than likely will be able to say this verb faster. But at first, especially when it comes to new words that I come across, I can't just say them very fast right at the beginning. I have to start very slow, and then eventually I'll be able to say it a lot faster. Another bad Spanish pronunciation habit that I've had is mumbling. So this is something that has been very difficult for me even today to get rid of. But initially, I started to mumble a lot when I was speaking Spanish, when I was having conversations with different native speakers, because I had a lot of fear of speaking Spanish. So instead of speaking with a lot of confidence, and instead of speaking more, I would say with more expression, and then also opening my mouth, I would close my mouth more, basically so they wouldn't hear me that much when I was speaking. It's really strange, but that's just something that I used to do a lot. But that was a very bad habit, because when you are speaking Spanish, when I'm speaking Spanish, as you know, or maybe you don't know yet, there's a lot of letters, or they're very different in comparison to the English letters. So you actually have to open up your mouth very wide to be able to say them correctly. But when I'm mumbling, I'm not able to do that. So it's very difficult for someone to understand what I'm saying. Increasing my knowledge of Spanish grammar also has helped me a lot to improve my Spanish pronunciation. And just imagine that I'm in a conversation, right? But I don't really know that much about sentence structure. I don't know how to conjugate verbs. There's so many different grammar rules that I'm mixed up on. So when I'm actually speaking, the only thing that I'm thinking about or trying to focus on when I'm speaking is mostly, should this word go over here? Does this verb go over here? Or does the noun go over there? So all that going on makes it extremely hard to focus on pronunciation. If I'm not focusing on pronunciation, then I'm focusing on something else. Esto también me permitiría darle un ritmo más rápido a la entrevista. No es lo mismo entrevistar para la televisión que para un periódico. Reading a Spanish book is very similar to reading lyrics of a song, because again, I get to control my pacing, I get to control the pitch of my voice, and then the other really good benefit for me when it comes to reading is that I did not have to actually create my own sentences. So instead of just speaking spontaneously in Spanish, I can just read the sentences that are right in front of me, and that again just makes it a lot easier. I only have just one thing to focus on, and that is just pronouncing these words and sentences correctly. Versus if I'm having a conversation, I am trying to listen to that other person. I'm trying to think about what I want to say, and then I have to focus on pronouncing as well. So there's many different steps versus right now, I can just start speaking right now. Dicho esto, en todo entrevista hay preguntas que no son para comenzar. That takes a lot of voice training, and I've always thought of it as if I was a professional narrator. I have to be able to make sure that other people who are listening to me very interested in what I am reading and sound very animated and be able to express myself when I'm reading and basically making sure that the words are popping out of the book. And me, again, not just sounding like a robot. Dicho esto, en toda entrevista hay preguntas que no son para comenzar. I'm going to sound more like, dicho esto, en toda entrevista hay preguntas que no son para comenzar. And then I'm also focusing on the commas. I'm focusing a lot more in how I am pacing myself. Maybe you're thinking to yourself right now, how exactly am I sounding the way that I do when I'm reading these words right now? Or how do I know how to say these words? Knowing how the letters of the Spanish alphabet sound is what allows me to do that, because as you heard, I'm really going basically letter by letter when I'm speaking for the most part. So dentro del mismo or equipo de Maduro. So when I am reading, I am focusing on every single letter, but then not just the letters by themselves, but also the combination of letters, because different combination of letters have different sounds as well. And of course, there are many other rules that are associated with the Spanish alphabet. So for example, in English, we have B and then we have V, and those two letters have very distinct sounds. But in Spanish, they actually sound the same, and they just sound like B. And then we also have the L versus the double L, or LA versus AA sound. So for example, for yellow in Spanish, we have amarillo. But if you have a Spanish word that just has the single L, like león, it's going to sound like that. It's not going to sound like yeón. And then you have la S and la zeta, which is S and Z in Spanish. And the Z actually makes the SA sound. So that can be kind of confusing as well. And then there's also the H, which is silent in Spanish. So that makes it even more challenging, because there are many times where you can have the J or the G in Spanish that sound like the H sound in English. I have the word jefe and gente here, but jefe starts with a J and gente starts with a G. And then for different letter combinations, I have Guadalajara. Now, this word was very challenging for me to say, and it kind of still is, because of that wa sound, that gua, Guadalajara. And then another one is independencia. So it's not like in English you would think it would sound more like independencia, but it's more like a yeah, independencia. Speaking out loud combined with a lot of repetition has helped to improve my Spanish pronunciation as well. As you can see throughout this video, that's exactly what I've been doing. If I messed up, then I would not just stop saying that word, but I would say it over and over again. Then also I would slow down and make sure that I'm saying every letter correctly as well. So that's something actually I would say that has been probably the most helpful throughout the past 3 years of my journey trying to improve my pronunciation, because I noticed that when I actually don't practice a word, or for example, let's say that there is one word I find very challenging, like enriquecer, that I learned last week, right? But then I say, okay, you know what, that's too difficult to say, and then I won't be able to say that word better. So I've had to really push myself to repeat a lot of words. And I'm not just saying sometimes it's only 5 times that I have to repeat the same word. I may have to say the same word 100 times or 50 times for me to actually really say it very well, but then also be able to say it well in a conversation. Because one thing to say an isolated word, right? but then when you actually try to say that one specific word that caused you a lot of trouble in a sentence, then that just makes it a little bit tougher. Now, some other resources that I have used to improve my Spanish pronunciation are ITALKI and SpanishDict.com. You can watch some of my ITALKI lessons because I have uploaded them onto this channel. Now, these lessons have been very beneficial for me because I don't want to have to bug some of my friends who speak Spanish for every single word that I come across that I have trouble saying. So that's basically why I have these ITALKI lessons, so I can have just some private one-on-one time with a native Spanish speaker who is focusing directly on improving my speaking skills. With SpanishDict.com, I don't have to go to my italki tutors, or I don't have to go to any of my Spanish-speaking friends if I want to do just a quick little search to figure out how do I pronounce enriquecer. I can just go onto this website and press a little button right next to the word, and then I'll be able to hear exactly how this word sounds. Enriquecer. Enriquecer. And that's how I've been using Spanish Dict a lot. It's just looking up a lot of these words that I always forget how to pronounce, and then I can just practice the word just like that a few times, and that just makes it really easy. I'm curious to know, have you used one of the methods that I mentioned in this video to improve your Spanish pronunciation? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching this video and for all of your support. Y hasta luego.